Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Midday Live. It's from our news hub here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. My name is Efua Tiku. Coming up this afternoon. Former gender minister who has been named Italian ambassador designate rejects position and quits politics. Officials of Asesewa Government Hospital accused of negligence leading to death of pregnant mother and child. President Akufo-Addo joins Muslims across the country to mark Eid al-Adha. And on the foreign front, U.S. First Lady Melania Trump to make her first trip to Africa later this year. Stay with us for the next 1 hour for details of all these and more. Now to our very first story. The immediate past Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Otiko Afisa-Jaba, has turned down her appointment as Ghana's ambassador to Italy. According to her, she has communicated same officially to President Akufo-Addo. Nana Akufo-Addo a fortnight ago gave Ms. Jaba an ambassadorial position in his maiden reshuffle when he removed her as the Gender, Children and Social Protection Minister. In an interview with the Daily Graphic, Ms. Jaba disclosed that she turned the offer down because she had resigned from active politics. At 56 years, I want to relax and enjoy my family and life, and therefore I'm not ready to take up the appointment as ambassador to Italy, she said. Explaining further, she said she was bowing out of politics to take care of her ex-husband who has had stroke for the past 6 years. Professor Justice Baole is a public administration and governance expert. We earlier sought his views on the resignation of the politician. Right, so will any politician in government reject an ambassadorial role?
Well, thank you very much. If I heard the news right, I am told that, I heard that the minister had indicated that she has some family obligations and commitments, and that is going to make it difficult for her to accept a position in government outside of the Ghanaian jurisdiction. If that's something that is a family decision, I think that we cannot fault her on that. The fact that I cannot be away from Ghana because I have family responsibilities that I need to respond to. But it signals that perhaps not everything is right, because I know that the president would not give a position to a minister or anybody for that matter without first consulting them. And so if the minister was consulted on the current or the intended posting to a jurisdiction out of Ghana, the minister could have made her position clearer to the president, and perhaps the president may have not, or may have rescinded his decision to send her out of Ghana.
So do you believe that perhaps this is a nice way of getting her out of government?
I don't think it's a nice way of getting, because if you were sent to, let's all get the facts right and perhaps what governance is all about. It's an honor to serve in government. It's not anybody's prerogative. It's not anybody's entitlement to serve in government. It's the same thing for public service generally. So if a president chooses to appoint you into any position, it's considered an honor. And if the president decides otherwise, that he is not interested in having you serve in his government, I don't think it's a basis on which we can speculate that we try to get her out of government, or somebody's being smuggled out of government. I think it's important to appreciate that the president has the executive powers to appoint people into positions, and everybody who works as a minister or as an ambassador or in any other appointed position, you work at the mercy, as it were, of the president. And so if the president decides otherwise, to reshuffle or to move people around, it is his right to do that. I think it's also important that for people who get the opportunity to serve, and I'm not saying this particularly to the lady in question, but I'm saying that anybody who gets the opportunity to serve in government, it's actually an honor, and therefore we cannot often hold a very hard position to say I want to serve in position A or position B, because you see, for those who do politics, when you go into the field to win power, there are several stakeholders involved. The people who are at the front line of campaigning are just a handful, perhaps 1% of the people who contribute to winning power. And so when power is won and the sharing of the spoils of victory becomes a matter of entitlement, then the rest of us who are at the background and voting, and after voting, contributing in several ways to make sure that governance go right, may also begin to exact some rights. And when that happens, we are likely to have chaos. And so I think it is important to acknowledge that the president has rights to move people around. He normally would consult with people and let them know why and what he's doing at any particular time and why they are being moved and all of that. If people were not excited about it, they have the right to make their position clear to the president.
Right. Now, Professor
in this case,
yes. Finally, for a politician like her, who has risen through the ranks of her party to the position of women's organizer, and having had her first shot at ministerial appointment, now she says she's quitting politics. What will make her quit?
No, she gives us a very difficult reason, and many of us would give that reason if they are indeed reasons that we consider important. So why would I want to? I refuse to accept a job to stay abroad and work there because I didn't want my family to live abroad, and I didn't want to live somewhere else and have my family live in Ghana alone. So on that basis, somebody would decide that I don't want to accept a position. So if that is her position, that I don't want to live, in this case, my husband, who is indisposed, who is not too well, and I want to be around and to take care of her, I think it's a very good reason to give. If there are other reasons, we don't know. If there are infightings, we don't know. And I don't think it is right for us to speculate. After all, people would go into government as ministers, and at some point they will be asked to step back, because the people who actually contributed to winning power are so many. And therefore, it's a privilege for one to be given a position. And in her case, she served almost 2 years, a year and over. And so it is the case that if she has a genuine family reason, I think we should respect that reason. And we should give them the space to say, I want to take care of my husband, and we should be able to do it. If there are other reasons, perhaps in the coming days we will know. But it is important for us to recognize that the president can move people around because he has executive powers.
Thank you very much, Professor Baole, who is a public administration and governance expert. Thank you. And Professor Baole spoke with me early on. Now to some other issue, and President Akufo-Addo has said that his government will sacrifice to ensure Ghana and its people progress economically and socially. He said this at the Black Star Square, where millions of Muslims have gathered for prayers to commemorate the Eid al-Adha celebrations.
I shall continue to sacrifice my all to ensure that I leave a legacy of peace and progress for coming generations. I shall continue to admonish my appointees to cultivate the same spirit of sacrifice that spurred our forebears to fight for our liberation, and I shall demand it of them. Today, the liberation that we seek is not of freedom from foreign domination. What our people require is liberation from economic and social stagnation. I have sought the presidency in order specifically to make the sacrifices that are required to ensure the economic and social transformation of our country and its people.
chairman for the Center for Religious Dialogue, Sheikh Mohammed Banya, says the celebration of Eid al-Adha is about God's love for mankind. Reacting to the assertion that Muslims are violent, he said the assertion came from some individuals who took sections of the Quran, misquoted it and interpreted it to suit their personal and political ideologies. He spoke on New Day.
After the demise of Prophet Muhammad, a lot of things happened. Political Islam took over and people were struggling for power here and there. And so it gave way for some greedy Muslims, so to speak, to have equally stupid scholars who would sit down and interpret certain verses of the Quran to suit their own personal or political interests, if you wish. And that is what has given birth to what we are seeing today. If you take a young man of 13, 14, 15, who does hardly understands anything about Islam, he's so passionate. He wants to worship God. And you take a verse that speaks to jihad, for instance, and you make him have a negative understanding of that verse to imply that for him to prove that he loves God, he ought to kill a set of men or women, you know, for him to qualify as a true Muslim.
On What Do You Think this afternoon, we've been asking Muslims the significance of Eid al-Adha.
Today is Eid al-Adha, and it focuses on strong faith, giving as well as sacrifice. We're finding out from Muslims what the significance of the day is.
This day signifies the commemoration of the day that God Almighty Allah prevented our Prophet Abraham from slaughtering his only son to sacrifice to Almighty Allah. So Allah tested him to see how strong his faith was, and he was able to overcome that test. So every year we celebrate that day. That's Eid al-Adha, to commemorate or to remember that what happened on that particular day.
This is the first time for the past, let me say, 18 years. I've never had a Eid or such an occasion in Ghana, because if I remember, I left from 2000. As a Muslim, it's a very remarkable day, and we know what it means to us, and it's a tradition that we follow.
All Muslims are supposed to give every little thing that they have, share with others in the name of the Almighty Allah. Yeah, and in this day, it's a blessed month and also a blessed day and a blessed year to all Muslims. So all we wish from Allah is to grant us our heart's wishes and our heart desires and provide us with all our needs.
Sacrifice, meaning once you love somebody and once you have faith in something, you should have a pure in heart and sacrifice for that thing. Don't be timid or something else. Just give out your best and your best shall be rewarded.
Whatever you go through in life, it's a test of life. God is taking you through a test of life. You gotta you gotta have faith in everything you do. You have to put God first. You have to obey whatever God says in the Quran. The do's and don'ts of the Quran, we all have to follow. Abraham did follow the do's and don'ts of the Quran, and at the end, there was a miracle. So today means a lot to me.
It is about the faith we have in Allah. We claim we are Muslims. We are believers in Allah. How faithful are we? If we really are faithful, this is a chance for us to prove.
I'm saying the Cassia Edima Cremofor the whole world. And then ya bejina ho ya sun nyame. Di nyame di ama yokomsheni Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say yembe no em say enesu ababeye. Ti em say pinifo bia be hia ha ya sun nyame say de sefata asumtwe
Well, meanwhile, some Muslims have debunked the notion that Islam is linked with terrorism.
Real Muslims knew that Muslims are not the real terrorism or what is happening today in the media. We all know, unless anybody who is not well educated. But if you are well educated, we all knew that a real Muslim can never be a terrorist.
All those what do you call it, kind of habits or behaviors, our ulamas have already declared that they are not Muslims, because Islam teaches us to be patient and to be peaceful. So whoever perpetrates those kind of behaviors, that's killing people in the name of Islam, no, that's not Islamic. That's not what Islam teaches.
The definition of Islam is the total submission to the will of Allah. So if you are submitting yourself totally to the will of Allah, what are some of the wills of Allah? Do you kill? Do you go bombing people? You don't do that. Do you go terrorizing people? No. These are not the wills of Allah. The wills of Allah is to live peacefully with your fellow human.
You know, some people have a perception that once Muslims, some are like they kill and all those things. Others don't believe in that. Others believe in peace. You know, it's about your perception. If I think this is peace, yes, I should do it. I shouldn't cause conflict because misunderstanding wouldn't lead to anything better. It will only end up by losing lives and properties.
Now to some other issues, and members of the Presidential Press Corps under the John Mahama administration are demanding the report on the accident which claimed the life of a Ghanaian Times reporter and left several others injured. After 3 years, there's growing anger amongst the victims who insist the accident could have been avoided. A report by Komla Kluchi.
Born on July 29, 1979, Samuel Nyama was attached to the Flagstaff House as a correspondent for the state-owned Ghanaian Times. His life was cut short after a gruesome accident when the presidential team was turning from the Volta region with a hired Ford bus where the journalists were packed into. The car burst its tire with the vehicle overturning and landing in a ditch. William Gento, the Peace FM correspondent, suffered severe injuries and the pain lingers on. Despite undergoing several surgeries, his right arm is yet to heal. High emotions as Nyama's colleagues remember his 3rd anniversary at his burial.
We pray that the Lord will continue to keep you.
There's growing anger amongst the past members of the Presidential Press Corps who say the accident was not fully investigated. Details of the hired Ford in which the pressmen were packed has never been put out after the accident. Information gathered later indicated the vehicle was not insured as it was hired from a private carport. This, the then government refused to address.
If someone was supposed to do something which could have averted this whole saga and deliberately couldn't do it, God is our judge.
We made efforts to meet the president. Even after the accident, we made efforts to talk to the president, but that didn't come up. Can you imagine a president who refuses to meet his press corps? It's unthinkable.
Criticisms have been leveled at the past leadership of the press corps as having failed in cooperating with the police to unravel the cause of the accident. An allegation TV3's Edward Kwame, who was the secretary to the press corps, who himself suffered severe leg injury, has denied.
We expected the report to be made public. Some of us, as an executive, have had the opportunity to see the report. This is a report which is not complete because I think that it's been forwarded to the Attorney General for the necessary action to be taken. Everybody cooperated with the police. Apart from making it public, they should be able to find somebody culpable and somebody should be punished for what happened.
Efforts to reach the past handlers of the Presidential Press Corps to respond to the issue proved unsuccessful. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Accra.
May he continue to rest in perfect peace. And any member of the NDC who has not held at least a constituency position is disqualified from contesting a national position. The party's General Secretary Johnson Esiedun-Ketia made this known at a news conference in Accra to officially open nominations for its National Delegates Congress on October 20. A report by Godfrey Tanam.
The General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Esiedun-Ketia, said, apart from persons who have held constituency, regional and national executive positions, former government appointees who are in good standing stand the chance of contesting for national position.
We will test your registration, test the status of your dues payment, which must be up to date. This clause I'm going to talk about doesn't apply to the lower levels, but at national level, you must have held an executive position within the party, maybe constituency organizer, constituency something, branch something, regional somebody, or national somebody who want to swap positions and so on, before you can qualify to contest.
He spelled out other individuals who do not stand a chance to contest any position in the October Delegates Congress.
If you have been adjudged by a court of competent jurisdiction to have committed any act of dishonesty and moral turpitude, you are disqualified. If you have been found culpable by the disciplinary committee of the party and you haven't finished serving your sentence, then you are not qualified to contest. And then if you have been convicted for any offense that borders on the security of the state, then that plays to you have problems convincing us that you are qualified.
According to him, the women and the youth wings will hold separate conferences to make a decision on their leadership. For National Executive Committee membership with that portfolio and all deputy positions, apart from the Deputy General Secretary position, contestants will pay a filing fee of 2,000 cedis. The National Zongo Caucus, National Youth Organizer and the National Women Organizer positions will pay a filing fee of 4,000 cedis, with the National Communications Officer, National Organizer and Deputy General Secretary will be paying 6,000 cedis. The General Secretary position attracts a fee of 8,000 cedis, while those who will vie for National Chairmanship position pay 10,000 cedis filing fee.
On MTN Video Report today, our citizen journalist Kofi Francis reports on an eroded bridge at Ho in the Volta region, which he said has become a death trap.
My name is Francis Kofi. I'm speaking from Nastia Sokode Loke, Ho Municipal. As you can see, there's a bridge that has been constructed about 2 years ago, and it has broken down entirely, making it impossible for commuters and vehicles to move to the other side of the road. This is serving as a death trap for unknown vehicles coming. Several complaints have been made to the district assembly, but to no avail. It was constructed just 3 months, but the next 3 months it has collapsed, hopefully causing financial loss to the state. We are in a difficult moment now. For attention to be drawn to it quickly to save a life.
Thank you very much, Francis. You can also send your video reports via our WhatsApp platform 055-1433-044 and do add your name and where you're reporting from. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. Let's take a short break. We'll be back with more stories. Welcome back. Now, the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority, DVLA, has begun a process to digitize all vehicle registration and number plating systems. The program, which kicks off on October 1 with a scanning of all customized number-plated vehicles, is to rationalize vehicle registration to ensure easy access to information and the reduction in illegal transactions.
Vehicle registration and licensing in Ghana has been characterized with fraud as middlemen continue to take undue advantage to cheat the system. Some even operate in a clear view of the DVLA with support from some unscrupulous staff. These experts say have resulted in numerous road traffic accidents. In a bid to address such challenges, the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Authority, DVLA, is going digital.
Our system has been compromised by these guru guys. Every vehicle by law are supposed to be registered by DVLA. But what some of these guys do is that they go out to register vehicles without the consent or the knowledge of DVLA. This exercise is to ensure that we certify the system, we clean the mess in the system.
Piloting with the customized number plate owners is to be conducted only at the national headquarters between October 1 and December 31. This will then be rolled out to the regions and as specific centers for all categories of vehicles.
This process is to digitize the whole system. We are starting with customers first, and then we have the diplomatic, and then subsequently to the rest. So at least we'll together sanitize the system so that we hook everybody onto the database. So we are going to connect everybody, every vehicle. Even if you do the registration in Accra, the whole country should be hooked on.
The process begins with the capturing of manual data on all vehicles.
We first of all do the sorting. Documents are placed into two categories: scannable documents and non-scannable documents. Then after sorting, we'll take it to data entry, where we'll do the tracking of the various documents. And from there we go to scanning. That's where the documents are placed into soft copy. We do post-sorting, and after that we do validation.
But what happens to people who fall victim to fraudsters?
In the event if we detect that your license is fake, they will ask you to pay for the normal customized costs, which is 5,000.
Francis Asamoah also threw more light on other benefits of the new system.
We are going to convert the vehicle documents onto a small card in the form of the new smart card license, the driver's license, which contains detailed information of your vehicle, and that will be given to you.
The DVLA urged the public to ensure all vehicle registration processes are undertaken by officials of the authority to avoid future embarrassment.
Well, meanwhile, commercial drivers are calling on government to stabilize prices of petroleum products. They were reacting to the 2% fuel price increase at the pump.
The 2% upward adjustment in fuel prices at most of the local pumps comes as the latest price review by the National Petroleum Authority to reflect world market trends. This is in line with the government's resolve not to interfere with the authorities bi-monthly review by way of subsidies for consumers. Checks at some fuel stations show some outlets have increased their prices by 2%. Some have stayed their prices while others have reduced their prices. Total and Goil were previously selling both petrol for 4 Ghana cedis 85 pesos per litre. Total and Goil are now selling petrol at 4 Ghana cedis 90 pesos and diesel at 4 Ghana cedis 94 pesos per litre. Shell was previously selling petrol at 4 Ghana cedis 95 pesos but now selling it at 4 Ghana cedis 90 pesos per litre. Diesel was previously sold by Shell for 4 Ghana cedis 95 pesos per litre. It is being sold now for 4 Ghana cedis 94 pesos per litre. At Frames Oil, the prices of both petrol and diesel remains at 4 Ghana cedis 83 pesos. Some commercial drivers have called on government to help stabilize fuel prices at the local pumps.
Your fuel prices in fact,
fuel prices are killing us. Work is not profitable. The president, as a candidate, promised to reduce fuel prices, but now prices are very high. Government should come to our aid. Previously, when I filled my fuel tank, I made about 100 cedis in revenue, but now I barely make 50 cedis with the same quantity of fuel. When I bought 100 cedis worth of fuel, I could work 5 trips, but now I make 4 trips with the same quantity of fuel. Government should intervene.
And that's it for business this afternoon. Let's look at some other stories, this one pertaining to health. And following the death of a pregnant mother and baby at Asisewa Government Hospital in the Upper Manya Krobo district, some relatives fear receiving care at the health facility. The families have accused hospital officials of delay leading to the death. The hospital officials, however, deny any wrongdoing. Tekpete, husband and father, considers himself unfortunate and the unlucky one among his peers. Within a fortnight, he's buried a daughter, a wife and a son, all through childbirth. At the graveyard where his beloved wife, Mabel Maku Tekpete, and daughter, Sarah Tekpete, have been laid to rest, he bows and sobs. He faults hospital officials for delay in responding to his wife's critical condition.
If they had started the operation at a set time, that would have been better, but they delayed, causing the death of my wife.
His daughter, Sarah, also sought medical attention at the Asesewa Government Hospital 2 weeks before her mother. She underwent surgery and was referred to Koforidua Central Hospital after 3 days when her condition became worse. She passed on in 3 days at the referral hospital. This shock has left fear in the minds of Naomi Tekpete, who is 5 months pregnant. She's vowed not to step foot at the hospital unless the situation at the facility changes.
I will not go to the Koforidua hospital until the doctor instructions there are changed.
The hospital officials of the Asesewa Government Hospital of the Upper Manya Krobo district of the Eastern Region has rejected accusations of delay leveled against them by the family. The medical superintendent of the hospital, Dr. Eric Boateng, explains Mabel, who was 41, was brought in at 10 a.m. in labor. On record, she was not a client of the hospital and was not on referral. The hospital had no knowledge of her. The hospital has one operating theatre, and at the time Mabel was brought in, another patient was undergoing surgery. Midwives and nurses placed Mabel under monitoring. According to the doctor, she was not left unattended to, as was claimed. The patient, he said, died because there wasn't enough blood for her after birth. She died of hemorrhagic shock, secondary to PPH, postpartum hemorrhage.
Because she bled a lot, we did not get adequate amount of blood to replace what she lost. Yeah. We got other people's blood, 4 units of blood that was given to her, but it was still not enough. So at all points in time, she was being given the needed attention that we could give to any other client. Of course, bleeding after delivery or even after operation or cesarean session or so, it happens day in and out. But it's what you do for the patient that matters. In any case, we did our best for her.
According to the stillbirth book at the hospital, the body of the baby was shown to the father, who signed and gave permission for the dead baby to be buried. The details of the surgery book also confirms that Dr. Eric Boateng was on duty on that said day.
On the 20th of July, we had a client was brought in by the relatives because they said she was in labor. And we received that client on, around 10 a.m. That's per our records. That's what we have here. And I was called, actually. I was the doctor on duty, so I was called. And because there was a case in theater ongoing, we couldn't have stopped in the middle of that procedure to move her in. Again, the baby had already passed on. So here, there was no, even if the baby was still alive, and the head is tagged, and the body is not coming, there's no way we could have saved that child. All we were supposed to have done is to decapitate that child, and then deliver the retained parts, in this case the head, through hysterectomy.
The district chief executive of Upper Manya Krobo, Felix Nate Ojao, commiserates with the family and promises his outfit will address issues raised about the hospital.
Part of the challenge they had also had to do with some level of ignorance and some inability to explain things in detail. That also has to do with language. And so we've already started the engagement. At dawn, we have a community center where departments would come, explain their activities to the public. The public will have the ability to ask them questions, and then we can get them on board to understand how things work.
This is Midday Live on TV3, and we are live on DSTV channel 279. We also want to hear from you on your views on the stories you were seeing and also what you think. So send us your views and comments to our social media platforms. That's what's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at TV3 Ghana. This is Midday Live. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
On TV3's morning show, New Day, the rapper called for an end to the media war between the two, noting it is rather their responsibility to preserve Ebony's legacy. He fears Ebony's legacy can hardly be protected if his father and the manager who supported her to win the VGMA Artist of the Year are at loggerheads.
Bullet and Starboy Quartet should just sit up and solve this issue amicably, because what legacy that Ebony left behind that they are trying to protect. Okay. That legacy cannot be protected without Bullet. Right. Because he knows everything about Ebony. He has all the requirements. Right. So Bullet can decide to be part or not to be part, and it won't affect him. But he will still get that glory as the first manager that managed a female artist to win Artist of the Year. Right. And the father, it's your responsibility to make sure your daughter's legacy remains. Do you understand? So I get it. The father, whether you like it or not. So Bullet is like the constant for you to make sure what your daughter left behind is being protected.
Interesting. Captain Planet is alleged to have been paid an amount of 2,000 Ghana cedis to perform at Ebony's tribute concert. But according to the rapper, he was not even booked to perform. Bullet, on the other hand, claims the handwriting circulating is that of Ebony's dad, just to tarnish his image.
But do you know Bullet's handwriting? Do you know? No, I don't know Bullet. So, but I remember Bullet called me and he said he didn't present the list to Starboy Quartet. But I don't believe Bullet, I don't believe Starboy Quartet until they come out to say the final thing that happens between them. I don't believe any of them.
Acclaimed actor Oscar Provençal has requested government to support the film industry, create jobs for the youth. Speaking to TV3 on the sidelines of a stakeholders forum on the development and classification of Film Act 2016, the actor noted the industry could serve as a major source of employment if given the needed attention.
The film industry provides jobs such as scriptwriting, directing, camera works, acting, editing and presenting. In 2014, American film industry Hollywood sold 1.36 billion tickets compared to Bollywood's whopping 2.6 billion. In Ghana, the industry is less profitable.
We are appealing to governments to take a serious look at the creative arts industry, at film, as a necessary tool for national development so that we can incorporate it in the national development plan of this country.
Oscar Provençal stressed the entertainment industry can help with job creation as people can undertake short courses and acquire skills for long-term careers.
You have about 90 people per film being employed. I mean, if you do the mathematics, it shows you the potentials that you can have in reducing unemployment in this country, wealth creation. We have an issue concerning youth unemployment. So where you have an industry that can cater for the young people who are so, full of so much energy, so much talent, and yet they have no avenue to express it and to benefit from it, then there's a huge challenge.
Oscar Provençal is hopeful the implementation of the Development and Classification of Film Act 2016, Act 935, would help sanitize the industry. The new act seeks to provide the legal framework for the production, regulation, nurturing and development of the Ghanaian film industry and for the distribution, exhibition and marketing of films and related matters.
And that's all for Midday Live for today. For more news, do go to 3news.com. My name is Efua Tieku. Happy Eid al-Adha.